Okay. Hi everyone. Apologies for the late start. I was having a bit of technical issues, but we're back now, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so welcome to today's pre-market analysis. I'm Melanie, and I'll be a speaker for today. As per usual, before we get started, a disclaimer. Risk warning: trading forex and CFDs carries a high level of risk to your capital, and you should ensure that you only trade with money you can afford to lose. Trading forex and CFDs may not be suitable for all investors, so please ensure that you fully understand the risk involved and seek independent advice if necessary. Please read and ensure you fully understand our risk disclosure. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to start off by looking at some FX majors and then followed by some commodities, crypto, and indices. And lastly, of course, we'll be taking any custom requests as well. Okay, so yeah, I'm Melanie and I'll be your speaker for today. I'm an investment analyst at Rocket, who are finalist for Best FX and Equity Research in the years 2019 to 2021. Specializing in technical analysis with a focus in Fibonacci retracements, extensions, and projections. Okay, let's start off by looking at this week's fundamental events. Okay, so you can use any kind of economic calendar. I just prefer to use Forex Factory. Mm, oops. Okay, so yep, this is what the Forex Factory website looks like. Um, if you click on today's date, you can filter out this week's events, apply settings, and you can see I have it filtered to only look at the orange and red icon events. So this basically represents the medium to high impact events for the week. But if you click on this green icon, you can see I'll be able to look at the low impact as well, which is represented by this yellow box, and also any non-economic events. So that would include, I think, any bank holidays. So any event types you can filter out as well. I just like to leave all of them, and as well as the different currencies. So apply filter. So you can see if we look at the low impact events as well, we have a lot more events to get through. So I just like to streamline things and just focus on the medium to high impact events, because these will most likely have a bigger impact on our charts compared to the yellow events. Okay, so for this week, let me just make sure you guys can see my screen. Okay, so for this week, Monday we have the 1-year loan prime rate and 5-year loan prime rate in China. Okay, let me just make it bigger. Okay, Tuesday we don't really have any events. On Wednesday we have US existing home sales and Richmond Manufacturing Index. We also have Euros events, so we have French Flash Manufacturing Services PMI, same for German, as well as the Eurozone in general. We also have UK Flash Manufacturing and Services PMI, as well as US as well. We also have Canadian Bank of Canada Monetary Policy Report, rate statement, and overnight rate. And on Thursday, we have US new home sales, Canadian press conference, Euro German IFO business climate, US advanced GDP, unemployment claims, advanced GDP price index, core durable goods orders. And on Friday, we have ECB President Lagarde speaking, as well as the G20 meetings. We also have Japan's Tokyo Core CPI, and which is expected to be slightly higher than previous at 2.2%. And lastly, we have US Core PCE Price Index. Okay, so that's all for the fundamental events for this week. We can see Wednesday will probably be most the most eventful week for this week. Okay, now let me just pull up my charts and then we can go ahead and take a look at some charts. Okay, can everyone see my charts? Okay, should be fine. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze. Okay, okay, we have a request for pound dollar and Aussie dollars. We'll go ahead and look at that. Um, can we look at DXY? Yeah, we'll look at DXY as well. Okay, let's start off by looking at the Aussie dollar since I have it up here right now. Okay, so I like to start off by looking at the higher time frames on our charts. So starting off with our weekly time frame, you can see prices have been picking up a bit in recent times. Okay, and on our daily time frame, can see prices moving upwards as well. Um, okay, let me just move stuff around. Okay, so on our daily time frame, we can see um prices kind of making an uptrend in recent times. Let's see if we have any trend lines or trend channels. Doesn't really look like it here. Okay, but if we go ahead and analyze this on our daily time frame, just gonna go ahead and add our horizontal levels. So my first resistance is gonna be up here. Okay, and my first support, or maybe my pivot. Mm, okay, my pivot's just gonna be down here for now. So I get a lot of questions asking what exactly is the pivot. So we just label it as a pivot, but it's basically your sell entry, buy entry. Um, yeah, it's just another name for it, I guess. But feel free to label it whatever you prefer. Okay, and then for my first support, here's gonna be my intermediate support. Okay, and this is my first support here. So a good habit is to try and pull it back as far as you can, so that we can see how significant that level is. So you can see, since I've pulled it back, I can see that we have a couple of swing highs, some swing lows over here as well. So you can see this level is pretty significant since price has tested it a couple of times in the recent past. Okay, so from the looks of this, I am expecting price to continue to drop to my pivot. Um, Probably will continue to break out of our pivot and head towards our first support because we normally will just follow the trend. Otherwise, it might bounce off of the pivot and head towards our first resistance again. Okay, so that I don't think there's really much to say here, but let's go ahead and look at our Fibonacci levels first to support our horizontal levels. Okay, I'm starting off with our Fibonacci retracement, um, or rather Fibonacci extension in this case. Here I'm looking at the Nike tick. That's what we call this shape. So obviously it'll just be like this. If it's inverted, it'll just look like that. Okay, so the shape is here, and I can see price has tested this 161 level before. Okay, since it recently rebounded off our first resistance and 161 level. Okay, you can see my 78.6 also lines up nicely with my first resistance. Again, for this one, we are using the trend-based fib extension tool, and the shape that we're looking at is basically like a lightning bolt kind of shape, or I guess like a flash symbol, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so as long as you have two or more Fibonacci levels lining up with each other, that's basically a Fibonacci confluence area. Okay, and the reason why these levels are important is because um, price tends to get attracted to these levels, but it might not be strong enough to break out of these levels. Okay, so here I'm looking for retracement, and I can see my 50% and 38.2 lining up with our pivot and intermediate resistance. Okay, and I think that might be all the levels that we have. Um, okay, my 61 also lines up. So again, the shape here is a lightning bolt shape. Okay, so I'm projecting where price might hit towards. So the 61 is in line with our first support. Okay, now let's take a look at some indicators to see what the trend is. So I like to use MACD and Ichimoku because at one glance you can see exactly what these signals are. Okay, so you can see MACD is kind of giving us a bit of a bearish signal, whereas Ichimoku price is moving above the cloud, so it is giving us a bullish signal. Okay, I'm not too sure over here what it's going to show us. We might see price rebound of this level. Okay, but we'll have to see again Okay. Okay, that's for Oz dollar. Um, we also have a request for pound dollar. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. Oops. Okay, so let's look at pound dollar now. So again, I'm starting off by looking at a weekly time frame. We can see prices kind of moving in an uptrend. Daily time frame as well. Um, Although there has been a slight turnover here at our first resistance. Okay, but overall still pretty bullish by the looks of it. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so here we have, I'm going to place my pivot at the swing high, double swing high here. Okay, this is just going to be my pivot. Okay, and for my first support, I'm going to place it here at the swing low. Okay, so I'm not going to place it here because over here we are cutting too many bodies of candlesticks, which is something you want to avoid. So I'm just going to place it right at this swing low here, or maybe this swing high as well. Okay, so when you have swing highs and swing lows respecting an area, that's called an overlap level. And these are pretty significant levels to use as well, because it basically tells us that bulls and bears have been respecting that area. Okay, so again, I'm using a retracement first. You can see my 50% lines up with my pivot. Okay, I'm also going to use the Fibonacci extension tool where my 161.8 lines up nicely with my first resistance. I think you guys can see the Nike tick shape here now. It's pretty clear here. Okay, 78.6 projection also lines up. This is the Nike tick, the lightning bolt shape. Okay, okay, my 78.6 projection also lines up. So you can see over here we have this huge confluence area at our first resistance. Okay, okay, no, I'm not using that. Mm. Okay, my 61.8 retracement also lines up with my first support. Okay, I think that's all the levels we have. Um, we can kind of see prices moving in this ascending trend channel as well. Okay, because for a valid trend channel, you just need two touches at the top and two touches below, which is exactly what we have here. Um, yeah, but let's just wanted to point that out. So again, we might see it bounce off of our pivot here. Okay, since it is moving within a ascending trend channel here. Okay, but again, we will just have to see. Now let's go in with Ichimoku and MACD once again. Price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, so it does support our analysis. MACD is also giving us a bullish signal, so they both support our analysis. Okay, so I will go in for the buy. Just to be 100% sure, once price bounces off of this pivot, that's our upside confirmation towards our first resistance here. Okay, so that's for pound. Next we will look at the XY. Okay, let's look at the XY. Okay, so again, I'm starting off with our weekly time frame. You can see prices kind of moving upwards. Daily time frame, you can see it kind of fluctuating here. Excuse me. Here you can see prices recently breaking out of this ascending trend channel. Okay, so that might be a bearish signal here. Okay, again, the two touches at the top and at least two touches below, and price recently broke out. Okay, now going in, just wanted to point that out, but I'm gonna go in with my horizontal levels now. So my pivot will just be here at this multiple swing low. Okay, my first resistance, I'm just gonna place it here. First support just at this swing low here. Okay, now going in with our Fibonacci levels. You can see my 61.8 lines up nicely. Okay, I might actually place. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Mm, excuse me. Okay, my 61.8 again lines up with my pivot. Okay, my 61.8 lines up with my first support. Okay, again, the shape that we're looking at is this lightning bolt kind of shape. Here I guess my 78.6 lines up with my pivot. Okay, so here's the shape. Okay, so here it looks like prices are going to move upwards towards our first resistance. Okay, since it is rebounding off of our pivot here, and our pivot is also a multiple swing low, and it's also in line with two Fibonacci levels, so it makes it a confluence area as well. Okay, yeah, now let's look at some indicators. Okay, so MACD and our Ichimoku are both giving us bearish signals. So let's take a look again at this. Okay, only if price continues to move upwards, then we'll go in for a buy. But basically, let's take a look at other indicators as well to see if any of the other indicators support our analysis. Okay, so looking at RSI first. Okay, RSI isn't really telling us much. Let's look at stochastic. Okay, stochastic, we can see prices recently rebounding off of this hidden resistance level. Or rather hidden support. So what it exactly is, hidden support is when price makes a okay at all of these levels here that I've pointed out. Stochastic obviously rebounds off of them, but on our and they're all at the same support level. But on our price level, price actually makes a higher low. This is a slightly lower low, but yeah. Okay, so this is a sign that prices are going to continue to rise after this price recently picked up from the support level. So we are expecting price to continue to do so. Okay. Okay, that's for stochastic. Maybe let's look at another indicator. Let's look at our moving averages. So if we zoom in, you can see price does look like it's moving above both of the moving averages. Over here, you can see that slightly. So we'll KIV our moving averages for now. But yeah, if price continues to move above this pivot and above the confluence area, then we're going for a buy towards our first resistance. Okay, are there any other requests? Okay, yeah, let's look at gold. So on our weekly time frame, we can see um okay, yeah, on our weekly time frame, we can see gold has been moving, making a higher, moving in an uptrend rather. Now on our daily time frame, it does look like prices are dipping slightly. Okay, so I'm gonna place my pivot here and my first support here. Okay, 38.2 lines out with my pivot and actually my 23.6 as well. Okay, can see that 90 takes shape there. 127 lines up nicely with our first resistance. We have a smaller retracement shape here. That 50% lines up with our pivot. Okay, 78.6 also lines up. Okay, and so here we have a confluence area. So I am expecting price to rebound off of that level and hit towards our first resistance. Let's look at some indicators. Price is moving above the cloud, so it does give us a bullish signal. MACD, you can see, is also giving us a bullish signal here. Okay. Okay, so before we go, I think yep, let me just briefly talk about Fibonacci because I normally do get questions on Fibonacci, so I do try to like show you guys the shapes that we're looking at and draw it out on the charts. But if you're still confused about Fibonacci, feel free to take a look at the forexarmy.com. This is just a Fibonacci retracement guide. We do have some free retracement and extensions videos on YouTube as well that you can take a look at. We also have a 4-part in-depth webinar series on Fibonacci, so stay tuned for those. In the meantime, you can take a look at this website, just some guidelines, some retracement levels to look at, steps, some things to look out for. But I think the most important is probably being able to identify the confluence areas, like I've been talking about this webinar. Okay, so you can see with the three different types of Fibonacci retracement, we're able to spot this confluence area where price bounced off from it perfectly. Okay, so yeah, that's can take a look at the different examples as well. And yeah, another important thing would be to always place your stop loss beyond, take profit before any key Fibonacci confluence area, and also just any resistance or support areas. So that could be your multiple swing highs, swing lows, so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, if there are no other questions, then that's all for today. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys found this session helpful and have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you guys again next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone. You too.